We're going to show off a few of our North Dakota country roads to our friend Steve Moore next week from the Wall Street Journal, who's coming out here for an economic outlook forum in Fargo Tuesday morning, but then heading west and going to be in coal country and oil country. Are you up for taking a few country roads, Steve, next week?
I'm looking forward to my trip. I hope it's not too cold. How cold will it be?
It's you know what? We've had an unusually very nice. In fact, I think it's going to be 37 today, a little bit of snow, but it's very nice. So no parka needed. Right. You'll be fine.
Okay, I've been looking forward to this a long time to see where the land where there's a shortage of workers, huh?
Yeah, exactly. What's that called? Hey, it's happening in America, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Lowest unemployment in the country. Can't wait for that story to be told.
I don't know if you noticed in the Wall Street Journal today there was a big article about North Dakota and the oil boom going on there, and the rest of the country is finally taking notice of what's happening in your great state, and it's just wonderful to see. I just wish the people in the White House would figure it out.
Well, the more they read the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, we can do our part. So we're glad you're coming out to do it. I want to talk about a couple of things. And by the way, folks, if you want to hear Steve, he will be addressing the group and part of a panel on economic outlook next Tuesday. Check out the Fargo Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce website and get your tickets for that event. So it should be a lot of fun on Tuesday as well. Okay, first of all. Two things. One, this payroll tax deal, and then just tax reform in general, because I know you're concerned about a looming tax doomsday that is coming not less than a year away. But first, on the compromise, a payroll tax cut pact, which is being, here's the headline in Friday's Wall Street Journal. Payroll tax cut pact, a rare sign of bipartisanship, which usually worries me. Should I be worried about the deal they cut?
Well, I don't have a problem with the payroll tax cut. I think it's fine. Anytime the Democrats want to cut taxes, I'm in favor of it. But what's really kind of disgusting about the whole thing, Scott, is that they didn't pay for any of this. So they did the big unemployment insurance extension. They did a new Medicare extension, and then they did the payroll tax cut, and they just basically increased the budget deficit. And that's why we have a $1.3 trillion deficit. And by the way, I think in this case, both parties are equally culpable for this fraud on the taxpayer. Like, why can't we cut any government spending? It's almost as if everything is untouchable in Washington.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And in this environment, which, by the way, politically, I think this was the right move, because to have Obama running around acting as though he's the tax cutter when his party can't even agree to a minuscule amount of spending cuts is absolutely ridiculous. So politically, this was for sure the right move. But you're more worried about this looming tax doomsday, right?
Yeah, I was on Fox News talking about this morning, about, the fact that the January 1, voters better open their eyes. We're going to see, if Obama's reelected, we're going to see the biggest tax increase in 50 years in this country. Capital gains go up, dividend taxes go up, small business taxes go up, the payroll tax goes up, the alternative minimum tax goes up. This is going to be, as I said it today, I predicted today on the morning show on Fox that if this tax increase goes through, we are going to have a double-dip recession. I don't believe that our economy can take that wallop from the Obama administration, who believes, just soak the rich. Well, those are the business owners, those are the employers in this country, and I just don't think it's going to work. I really don't. I think it's going to be devastating. But it's interesting because the tax increase, the tax bomb, doesn't go up until after the election. So that's a big benefit for Obama. He gets reelected, and then we all have buyer's remorse.
Okay, if the idea of a second Obama term and the lack of a concern about re-election doesn't scare the living daylights out of anybody that is trying to hire people and have any kind of certainty in this country, is just staggering to me. It ought to be a major part of it. So the question is, how do we defeat Barack Obama? Anybody have the right plan out there that is trying to take him on tax reform? Because that's the one thing that probably could energize this economy more than anything, is the Reagan-esque like tax reform, right?
Well, I think that's obviously right, and I really worry about what happens if we let that tax bomb detonate. Now, in terms of the Republican candidates, they're all fighting each other right now. It's almost as if they've forgotten who the real enemy is here, and that's the Obama administration and their policies, and they better start going after Obama and not each other. I see these attack ads that Romney runs against Santorum, and Santorum runs against Romney, and Gingrich runs against this person. I mean, it's really destructive, I think, of how the Republicans can win back the White House and prevent a big tax increase from happening.
You have, you obviously like the Herman Cain plan when it was initially out. Herman's off the stage, although now has endorsed Newt, and there seems to be some cooperation on their economic plans. You've got the Romney plan, you got the Santorum plan. Of all the candidates out there going specifically to this issue and this tax bomb that you worry will detonate, whose plan do you like best?
You mean of the people still standing?
Yes.
I guess I like Newt. I mean, Newt actually has a very good economic plan. He has my idea of the old optional flat tax, let people pay a flat tax, and I think that's really a good plan. You're right. I always liked the 999 plan that Herman Cain came up with. I thought that was really simple and fair and pro-growth. But, I think all of the Republicans have a better plan than Obama. I mean, Obama's whole economic plan is soak the rich. That's not an economic plan. That's just a redistribution plan.
But ultimately, when we do get a Republican nominee, this issue needs to be front and center, doesn't it? Because if we're what fixes everything is economic growth, and the only way to economic growth is not sprinkling around the edges and a little bit here, a little bit there. It's fundamental tax reform, right?
Yeah, you got to blow up the tax system. You got to start over. You got to pour salt in the soil so it never grows back. And I've always liked the idea of the flat tax. I really have, because I think it's simple. I think it's fair. Everybody pays the same rate. If you make 10 times more money than I do, you pay 10 times more tax. That's fair. Nobody has special interest loopholes. By the way, it's the liberals who put all the loopholes in the tax code. Some Republicans did, but, the tax code right now is like 6 times longer than the King James version of the Bible. I mean, it's incomprehensible.
Yeah, no question about it. And by the way, you mentioned Newt. He was on Fox News Sunday this weekend. We're going to play a clip from that particular address. Energy is really dominating this debate right now, which is fantastic. Rick Santorum talking specifically about energy and the radical environmental views of Barack Obama being a theology, which I thought explained well. And then Newt, same thing. And Newt's line about the amount of dollars that could be raised for the federal treasury by just simply opening up federal lands for drilling, the amount of money that would bring in would go a long way. So energy really connects with the economy here too, doesn't it, Steve?
It does. And by the way, Newt got that line from me and from my article when I interviewed Harold Hamm when he was in Washington, D.C. I mean, you could raise, nobody knows exactly how much, but conservatively estimated 5 to 10 trillion. That's trillion with a T in royalties from drilling. And if you do that, you can cut our national debt in half. I mean, that's a no-brainer. It's free money and jobs.
As we found out in North Dakota, and you'll find out next week when you see it, in addition to writing about it.
I'm really looking forward to that trip. By the way, it's great to see you at CPAC and meet you in person after years and years talking to you on the radio. So I look forward to getting together with you next week, and please don't let it be 20 degrees below zero.
Do not let your heart be troubled about the weather. We're going to roll out the red carpet for you and make sure it's nice and warm. We'll see you next week, Steve. Take care.
All right.
Senior economic writer on the editorial board at the Wall Street Journal, our friend Steve Moore.